Recording, we are recording. You're welcome to start. And it is exactly 5:30.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, it is 5:30 p.m. on July 9th, 2025. We only missed that by 20 years. 2025, and this is the meeting of the Brookline Commission on Disability. I'm going to start with roll call. Sarah Lynn Allaire,
Here.
Joan Mahone,
Here.
Lynn Meachek,
Here.
Henry Winkleman,
Here.
Elaine Ober.
Here.
Elaine Ober is here. Okay. Liz Stryer told me she was going to be late. Franklin Panetta Lopez, I have not heard from, so he is absent. I haven't heard from John Van Soyek, so he is absent. And is that
John is
everybody?
coming in from the weight room right now. Hold
Who
on.
is?
John Van Squad.
Okay.
And I'm making him a co-host. So John is here.
Okay. And John Van Soyek is
Yep.
here. Okay, terrific. And what do I feel like I'm missing somebody?
Give me a second. I'll check the list. Nancy Moore is not here,
Okay.
but I think,
No,
and you
I
said
think
Joan
that's it.
Mahone is here.
Yep, Joan Mahone's here.
So I believe that's everybody on our list.
Okay. And Liz Stryer said she would be late. So, and I know that Elaine has to leave early. So Elaine, when it comes time for you to jump off, feel free because we will still have quorum. Okay.
Thanks.
Okay. Next on the agenda is roll,
We did roll
public
call
comment.
and now we're open for public comment.
Okay, so public comment is now open. Public comment is an opportunity to tell us issues that are related to you. It is not for attacking people or attacking the commission.
We have one member of the public, Branch Harding, in the room. Branch, if you wish to speak, feel free to indicate by using the react feature, and I will unmute you. I see no movement.
Okay. So 3, 2, 1, public comment is closed. What's next on the agenda?
Approval of 3 sets of minutes.
Okay, the first
Minutes
one,
from June's meeting, minutes from
Yeah.
the accessible park, or actually 4 sets of minutes. Minutes from accessible parking subcommittee and 2 sets of minutes from the disability. I'm sorry, 2 sets of minutes from the parking subcommittee, 1 set of minutes from the disability pride display committee.
okay, so the 2 sets of minutes from the ADA parking. Can you give me the dates on those, please?
They are, hold on, I'm so sorry. So the display parking subcommittee was, the first one was 5/29/2025. The second one was 6/9/2025.
Okay, so we'll start with the minutes from our June meeting. I sent those out. I did not receive any edits, so I'd like to make a motion to approve those minutes as written.
I second the motion.
Okay, Sarah Lynn Allaire?
Which I don't believe there was accessible parking meeting.
No, this
this
is
is the
June.
June minutes
June
from
meeting.
last meeting.
Board meeting.
Okay, yeah, I'll second. It's
Okay.
aye.
Okay.
Sorry.
Just one quick comment. I was at the scholarship night. My name wasn't there, but it's not a big deal, but just that.
If you would like me to change it, then I can modify it, but we have to approve them as modified.
Okay.
Okay, so I will make the motion again to approve the minutes as modified, adding Lynn to the scholarship night.
I second the motion.
Okay, Sarah Lynn Allaire,
Aye.
Joan Mahone,
Yeah, I was there too. Yeah, but I wasn't at the meeting, so anyway,
you weren't
If
at
you
the
weren't
June
at the
meeting?
meeting, I wouldn't vote. I would abstain.
right, okay, that's why I'm abstaining.
Joan, you were not at the June meeting?
No, I remember I sent you a message. I
Okay.
completely.
Okay, I don't,
apologize.
that's all right, sorry. So abstain, Lynn Meachek,
I
Elaine Ober,
Abstain, I wasn't there.
okay. And John Van Soyek is going to
Abstain, it wasn't there.
abstain, okay. So that gives us 3 votes,
That's
me,
not, I don't think that's
Henry,
a majority.
Henry, and Sarah Lynn. Is that enough to approve them?
Who else was at the meeting?
me. Oh,
Liz Stryer was at the meeting. She's not here.
She's not here.
And I-
Genuinely, I'm not sure it is because I don't think it's a majority of the
Okay,
group.
so then I'm gonna table those minutes until next meeting,
Okay, that's fine.
okay? So let's go to the May 29th ADA accessible parking meeting minutes. That was just myself, Henry, and Lynn Meachek. So I'd like to make the motion to approve those minutes.
I second it.
Okay, and Henry,
Henry, you would
Henry,
need to
you're at
unmute
that
yourself.
meeting.
I apologize. I didn't hear what the question was.
549.
529 ADA accessible parking minutes.
I was there and I approve it as written.
Okay, the motion passes.
Yeah.
Now I want to vote on the June 9th minutes. Lynn Meachek was there, I was there, Henry was absent, so I'm gonna make the motion.
I second it.
Okay, and Henry,
Can't vote, so that's enough.
Can't-
2 people's
can he,
fine.
shouldn't he abstain?
Yes.
I abstain.
Good.
Okay, motion passes.
Mhm.
Okay, next is the subcommittee on the public library display. Those minutes, the only ones that was there was myself and Joan Mahone. And I would like to make that motion.
I second it.
Okay, motion passes. Okay, and the June minutes are tabled until next meeting.
Okay.
Okay, what's next on the agenda?
Next on the agenda is new business, new member, John Van Scoyac, Select Board.
Okay, so I would like to welcome to the commission our most recent select board liaison, Mr. John Van Soyek. And John, if you could, please go ahead and introduce yourself, and then we'll introduce ourselves.
Thanks very much, Jim. I have John Van Scoik. I've been on the select board for 5 years. I'm 2 years into my second term. And this is my first chance to be the select board representative on the commission on disability. But I couldn't be more pleased and excited. I have, as a select board member, it takes a lot of thought to sort of try to figure out how the interests of people in the community of those with disabilities, how those interests intersect with other interests in the town. And it doesn't sort of require the individual select board member to lean one way or lean the other way in areas where there's disagreement. On the other hand, I've always felt that there is a view that where disability is concerned, their strict adherence to the rights of those who are disabled should be the absolute standard. And I think it's been the absolute standard for Brookline. And I look forward to being part of trying to work through sometimes the decisions that come before the commission that require us to figure out in this given situation or that given situation, how do we weigh all interests but put the rights of people who are disabled first and foremost. And I'm really looking forward to those discussions in the weeks and months ahead. On a personal note, uh, I spent a period of my life, it was quite a few years ago, caring for my dad, who, in his later years, in his mid to late 80s, um, showed signs of dementia and required a certain amount of extra care. Had some issues with mobility, had some other issues. But he had spent years caring for my mother, who had severe disabilities because she unfortunately became someone with progressive supranuclear palsy. I don't know how many people are familiar with that, and was in a wheelchair for several of the final years of her life, or had to use a wheelchair for several of the final years of her life. Um, and I was always very touched that my dad, who did not have connections to Brookline, but knew very well of my connections, and often, was treated to stories about Brookline when the two of us would get together, um, asked me one day what he could do to memorialize my mother, his wife. And I told him about how Brookline was doing this. At that point, there had been one of the upgrades of the path at Hall's Pond, and there was a focus on developing a accessible part of the path right there at Amory Playground. And so he made a substantial donation to that, which I guess is recognized somewhere in the records of the town. And as I say, with no connection to Brookline, but just with the knowledge that Brookline was a town that honored the needs of people with disabilities um, in every aspect that it could, including, appreciating that a walk in the woods is not something that's easy for people who use mobility devices. And so even a short walk in the woods requires the attention to those who need access and who might not be, mobile in terms of using their use accessing on foot as the way as others do. So the connection is there, and it's very personal, and I really am sort of honored to be given a chance to serve for the Commission on Disability, and look forward to, I hope, doing a good job with you folks.
Well, thank you very much, John. And when you introduced yourself just then, I realized I don't think I'm pronouncing your last name correctly. So can you just repeat it for me so I will know it?
I truthfully, I didn't notice any discrepancy. It's Van Scoik.
Okay,
Yeah.
terrific. Thank you. Okay. So, John, I'm not going to introduce myself to you because you already know me and we've met before, but and I don't know who else you know, but I'll start with Sarah Lynn.
Sarah Lynn Allaire, and I think John and I know each other. But at any rate, I've joined the commission 2015 or 16, and Ben Franco was the select board member at that time, and he was very helpful in helping Jim Mishak, who was a member at the time, and me reconstitute the commission. It had been flagging, and he just did a wonderful job. He recruited a number of members, including Joan and Elaine, and so I was chair a number of years and needed to step down due to health reasons, but I'm still here. So nice to see you, John.
Thank you, Sarah Lynn.
Okay. And then Joan Mahone.
John, nice to meet you and hear your story. My name is Joan Mahone. I'm a lifelong resident of Brookline, and my professional career has been being involved in the deaf community, working as an American Sign Language interpreter. And as I was learning the skills to become an interpreter, I gave birth to to a baby girl who became deaf. So I was working professionally and personally in that community. And that is where my strengths are when it comes to providing information on the commission and paying attention to the needs of deaf and hard of hearing people. And in this town, you have deaf people who are prelingually deafened, and then you have a lot of people who are hard of hearing through aging. So, and there are different needs for each of those populations. So, and I've been on the commission, I think, like Sarah Lynn said, I think it's 2016 is when I came on, and Ben Franco was the liaison at that time as well. So, very nice to have you, and thank you very much.
Thank you,
Welcome
John.
aboard. Okay, Lynn Michek.
Hi, John. Welcome. My husband was James Bichek, who Sarah Lynn mentioned. I was appointed by you and your colleagues back in the winter of 24. My husband Jim passed away in September of 23, and he was a long-term member of the commission. And I also, we were together married for 40 years. So, and he was a quadriplegic. So I have a lot of experience with wheelchairs and all the issues that revolve around that, and the sidewalks and accessibility in the town. And Jim was very passionate about making Brookline accessible to all. And also thank you for your dad's contribution, because Jim and I would enjoy Hall's Pond. It was accessible. We could walk around the pond on a beautiful day, and it was wonderful. So thank you. So
Thanks, Lynn.
yes,
Thank
but
you,
yeah,
Lynn.
but welcome. Thank you.
Okay, Elaine Ober.
Hi, John. It's a pleasure to meet you. I was appointed to the commission in 2016 or 17. I can't quite remember, but it was while Ben Franco was our select board person, and I I come from a childhood spent in the disability community. I had a brother with multiple disabilities, cognitive, mobility, many. I'm familiar with wheelchairs. I'm familiar with a lot of things, including sort of societal discrimination. And I currently work and have since 2010 as a digital accessibility consultant. And so I have these two sort of techie and then more personal relationships with disability.
Thank
Thanks,
you,
Elaine.
Elaine. And Henry Winkleman.
Henry, you're on mute.
Good, Henry.
Sorry about that, everyone. John, it's nice to see you again. Yeah, we both
Hey,
serve
Henry.
a number of commissions. I think you're pretty aware of myself, but I'll be honest, I did thank you for sharing that story. It showed another side of you that I'd never seen before, and I'm really excited about working with you. I think a lot of people come into this role and they serve the best they can, but it seems like you've got some heart, some skin in the game, and I look forward to working with you.
Thanks, Henry.
Thank you,
And
Henry.
Jim, I just want to let you know that Nancy Moore is here.
Okay, Nancy, welcome. Nancy, we introduced John Van Soyek introduced himself, but if you could go ahead and introduce yourself to John, that'd be great.
Sure. John and I know each other a little bit
Oh, okay.
from my role on the Transportation Commission and Transportation Board. And that's my role here is I'm the Transportation Board's liaison to the Disability Commission. So great to see you.
Good to see
Thank
you
you,
again,
Nancy.
Nancy.
Okay, and Sarah Kaplan, I'm sure that you already know John.
Yeah, John
Yes,
and
we do.
I've
Eh,
worked for the town. Just a reminder, I've worked for the town for about 7.5 years as the town's ADA coordinator. Before that, I worked in nonprofit for about 6 years, running a first-time employment program for youth with disabilities. And I am currently working on updating the town's transition plan. It is a slow process, but it is happening. And recently, Warrant Article 14 and 15 have added a new role to my job. I am regularly interacting with the building department, reviewing reasonable accommodation requests related to zoning. And I also, work in the diversity department as the town's community relations specialist. So in general, I like to say that if you have a problem in Brookline, whether it be disability or otherwise, you're likely talking to me. And I'm often residents' first point of contact when they have a problem and kind of work that through a series of channels, depending on the problem that they present me with. Um, so thank you so much for joining us, and um, I look forward to working with you more closely.
Thanks for everything you do for the town, Sarah.
Thank you, everybody. Okay, Sarah Kaplan, what's next on the agenda?
Um, Hold on. Yeah, so sorry, Destiny Maxim is here to speak about the wheelchair repair bill.
Okay, so ladies and gentlemen, I just want to say that last month we talked about the public library display, and Joan, Sarah, and I set up that display with the help of Destiny, who's involved with the legislation on the wheelchair repair bill. So we asked Destiny to come in here tonight and talk a little bit more about it. But basically, the display was three items: what the problem is, the current legislation, and what people can do to get involved. So with that, I would like to introduce Destiny, who's going to be talking about that specific legislation. And I will start by saying, welcome, Destiny.
Thank you, Jim. Thank you, Sarah. And thank you all for inviting me to speak today. I'll start by introducing a little bit about myself and my role, and then transition into the wheelchair reform bills. So as mentioned, my name is Destiny Maxim, and I am the community organizer over at Disability Policy Consortium. I'm specifically working on the wheelchair repair bills. I myself am a wheelchair user and have been since I was 17. So that's over half of my life now that I've been in a wheelchair myself personally and have dealt with this. In addition to that, I am disabled not only as a spinal cord survivor or spinal cord injury survivor, but I also have vascular Ehlers-Danlos syndrome, or VEDS in short term. And I've lived with that my entire life and all of its complications. So I have been a member of the disability community since I entered the world. So I have a lot of passion with it. I recently started at DPC after being at Massability and being a disability inclusion liaison of trying to incorporate disabled voice over there, and realized that I really wanted to do something on a broader level and found my role over at DPC. So a little bit of background history for those. I heard that many people do have a lot of connections with the wheelchair user community, so I'll keep these points brief. But what is the issue? Currently, the major issues that wheelchair users are facing are the lack of repair timelines. So when a disabled person that uses a wheelchair has no access to their chair, a lot of things in their daily life are affected. Not only are they unable to get out of bed, use the restroom, attend medical appointments, but their access to the community, their access to work, all of that are severely limiting. So it's not just a uh, impact to your daily life and your routines, but it's also the emotional impact that happens of just being stuck and being forgotten and out of control. Oftentimes, when you call for a wheelchair repair, whether it be what's classified as a simple repair or a complex repair, it takes weeks before a company can come and even assess what the problem might be for that chair. So during this whole time, you've got somebody who's sitting at home, unable to, access their daily life before the chair is even diagnosed. After several weeks go by, somebody does finally come out and they diagnose the chair. But now what's next? Now they need to order the parts, then they need to install it. And this often causes multiple months, weeks to months, and I'm sad to say, in some cases, years of delay for a wheelchair user. And it's really difficult. So what are we doing about it, right? The history of this bill has been, there were two identical bills, and that was in the Senate and the House, and that was our wheelchair warranty bill. And that bill is very specific on covering, and if Sarah, if you want to switch to S210, that can show up on the screen. On your screen is our info sheet that just kind of talks about some of our outlines of what this bill includes, but I'm going to walk you through it as well. So what does the Senate version of our bill do? It covers all wheelchairs for not just 1 year, but for 2 years. And it's not just for power chairs. This goes to mobility scooters. This goes towards manual chairs, etc. And then we broke it down further under every part, because every part that you get installed in a chair also has its own warranty. So then we're extending those individual parts to also have a 2-year warranty. But in addition to that, we also have a variety of ways to help define what a repair timeline is. For our Senate bill, it's a 12-day turnaround. So we're asking that a callback happens. We're asking that somebody comes in, diagnoses the chair, services, and receives the parts all within 12 days. There was a lot of what can that be feasible? Can that even happen? Turns out it can because they are actually starting to do that. There's an add-on incentive.
Yay! Yay!
Yes,
Well
so there's
done.
an add-on incentive by Mass Health, and that is a $1,000 incentive award, monetary award for every time that they complete this 12-day turnaround. Now, a lot of the community was a bit up in arms, like, why do we have to reward them for simply doing their jobs, type of thing. And, the reality is it got things moving. So in addition to that, they can no longer claim that they don't have the funding to be able to make the repairs happen.
Hmm.
So we also have that. In addition to that, we're stockpiling common parts to help speed up the process, and we're eliminating the prior authorization for under $1,000 repairs. That's what constitutes a simple repair. So a caster change, a wheel change, small things, anything that costs under $1,000 will no longer have to go through Mass Health, your doctor, et cetera, for prior auths, which cuts down the significant wait time quite a bit. But what's unique to our Senate bill as well is that it also gives clients and consumers the ability to navigate an actual arbitration process. So is there an existing arbitration process? Yes, but it is so cumbersome. It is so difficult to navigate that no one on record has ever used the arbitration process, which was astounding when we learned that literally 0 people in Massachusetts have used this. So our bill covers that and changes the arbitration process to make it simple and actually able to be navigated. So that's our Senate bill. And then we're going to look at our House bill, which is House 1278. Now, as I mentioned previously, these bills used to be identical. This session, what's different is we changed this. We identified an entirely new bill, H 1278, based off of Connecticut's. So Connecticut's legislation is 1 year, and we've got to learn a lot from them. If you want, you can switch over to that H 1278 info sheet. There we go. And then I'll be outlining everything that's on the screen. There's a little power chair, and it's in our DPC royal blue and yellow colors as well. So H 1278 is an entirely different bill, and it's what we learned off of from Connecticut. So Connecticut has passed this bill already, or a similar bill. But what they learned over the last year is while they've had significant improvements, while NSM and New Motion have had better repair timelines, there still were no enforcement mechanisms making that 10-day timeline actually able to happen. So what we've done is we've taken that bill and we've essentially, internally, we call it our Connecticut Plus bill, and that's H 1278. So this one differs significantly from our Senate bill because this isn't just about warranty and what our items are under warranty. This is for any wheelchair complex, or it's CRT, a complex rehab technology. So any type of mobility equipment is covered under this bill. And this defines a timeline repair for 10 days. And this one has
Wow.
a very specific timeline in mind. So it's a 10-day turnaround. But in addition to that, phone calls, when you call to make that repair, actually have to get replied to and answered that same day. In addition to that, we also have the parts being ordered within 3 business days. So a lot of times you've heard how I've said that, the repair happens and then you have to wait, weeks before someone even comes in to order that part. This bill changes that and it allows that those parts need to be ordered within 3 days, meaning the diagnosis of the chair needs to happen within 3 days. Overall, having that 10 business day timeline. What's unique about about the House bill as well is that it really gives a chance to provide equal service timelines, whether you're asking for an in-home repair or a branch service. And this is obviously really important to our disability community, especially our wheelchair users, because when your chair is broken, it's really hard to get anywhere, right? And so it's essential to have this in-home option and to not be quoted, 3 to 4 weeks further out than if you were to go to an in-service branch location. So similar to the Senate bill, we do require the stocking of common parts. There is the add-on incentive as well for this bill, but this one just has a very strict definition on their timelines with that 10, 3, and 1. And this one basically aims to reduce the wait times as well as removing the bureaucratic hurdles, meaning that what I don't have on this info sheet that I'm actually realizing should be on here as I'm reading this is we're eliminating prior authorizations for the chair within 5 years old. So on our Senate bill, it was prior auths being eliminated for repairs under $1,000. But this actually eliminates prior auths on the chair no matter the cost, so long as the chair's prescription is within 5 years of a date. So that gives a lot more open opportunity. And again, preventing that delay timeline of having to wait for the prior auths to get approved. So how can you help? We have these 2 bills and we are, in the middle, and where are we at now? We had our hearing on April 29th, and it was a really powerful hearing in the Consumer Protection and Professional Licensure Committee. We had over 2.5 hours of just wheelchair repair testimony, which was pretty darn good, if I say so, on my behalf. We're really excited to see that move forward. And as I'm pretty sure a lot of people know, the Joint Rules Committee just changed some things, and the House is still adjusting to those changes. But we were told that there was supposed to be a 60-day turnaround in the House for the bills to come out of committee. And that's where we're sitting right now. Our 60-day deadline did happen on June 28th, and we have not heard anything. So we're wondering, okay, what does that mean? When we asked for clarification from legislators, it was unclear whether or not they had to formally announce if they were taking that 30-day extension. And that is now being worked out in the legislation process, and we hope to have an update soon.
Sure.
Meanwhile, we're operating under the assumption that they have taken that 30-day extension and they're just not having to formally announce that, which gives us through the end of July to get this bill out of committee, at least for the House. And then in the Senate, it's the middle of December, though they can act on that sooner. So what we're asking for is getting more people to send an email, and DPC has an action link that I can send out to Sarah to circulate afterwards. But it's pretty simple to remember. It's tinyurl.com/move H1278. And this is where we're asking the committee to move with a favorable outcome on both bills, but particularly the House bill, because now the House votes on House and Senate votes on Senate. So we are asking that we can get those bills out of committee. And we really need people's individual voices on this. Whether you're a wheelchair user or you're an ally, your voice can help amplify ours and bring together or show the unity of our community, and that we're not backing down on this. In the background, we're meeting with legislative House representatives and trying to, utilize media as well as getting it forward. But that's essentially the process of where we're at right now. We're really hoping that this will pass this session. As I mentioned, we do have some unknown territory with the House bill being unknown, but we do have a strong component in the fact that Connecticut has already passed this and we've learned from then. Sarah has also included a written and oral testimony instructions, which was updated back in April. But if you would like to provide written testimony, they are still accepting it because they haven't taken further action on the bill right now. So if you have an experience that you would like to share, there's information there on how to do that. But in future ways, you can be involved in so much other, ways of being part of amplifying our voices through our campaign. We have bi-weekly meetings on Monday. It's called Unstuck. And that's where wheelchair users are coming together and talking about how we can, it's not just about the campaign, it's about wheelchair user barriers in general. And that's every other Monday at 11 a.m. But we're talking about different struggles that people are facing, how we can help, and kind of amplifying our voices in the State House. So if you have any questions, I'd be happy to take them now, but that pretty much gives you up to date on where we are at.
Well, Destiny, thank you so much. That's very informative. And, it helps a lot for us to understand what's going on. I just have a couple of questions. Uh, uh, First of all, is there you cited the differences between the House bill and the Senate bill. I'm assuming that you prefer the House bill. Is that correct?
That's a question. So personally, I like the House bill because it covers more wheelchair users.
Yeah.
However, we have to look at history as well. The Senate has passed the Senate bill in prior two sessions favorably. The House has not. So we have to kind of keep in mind that both of those bills are a win for the wheelchair user community based off of where we are right now. So we'd be happy with either or of them going through. Of
Okay.
course, we have learned quite a bit from our friends in Connecticut on what works and what doesn't work. And personally, I like the House bill, but as a
Okay. Great.
community.
Okay. And then
Uh,
my other question is when you were talking about it, I picked up you're talking about the wheelchair repair uh, companies, and you named two companies. And I'm wondering, are there only two companies?
You're getting some great questions in. So,
Uh,
Massachusetts, unfortunately, right now is under a duopoly. That's what it comes down to. New Motion and National Seating and Mobility have bought out almost every other small company in Massachusetts. You will find the exception. There are a few small ones like REQ servicing, the middle of Massachusetts, but it's difficult and far in between to find a user that is not with either New Motion or NSM. Um, it's
Correct
a,
me if
it's a
I'm wrong,
duopoly.
Destiny, but if you're on Mass Health, you must work with one or the other. It, Mass Health, their reimbursement rates are so low that the only companies that are willing to work with them are New Motion or National Seating, and the smaller companies just won't work with them. Like I know, I call him the Ukrainian. He's in Charlestown, and I went to him to get a part because I couldn't get a new headrest without going through prior authorization, which would have taken months. And the headrest I was using at the time was pushing my neck forward to the point where I couldn't see my computer screen anymore. It was like I was like facing downward rather than facing the way you should when you are driving a wheelchair. And I went in and he wanted to charge me out of pocket a couple $100. And we came up with a number that I could afford. I will not state that number for the record because if Mass Health knows that I pay for individual parts, they can decide not to pay for my chair. So I was gonna buy a piece from him, and then when he actually got the piece a couple weeks later, he called me and quoted me an entirely different price. And so I told him he could keep the part. And then I did have to go through the prior authorization process. It was a nightmare. Um,
Okay,
Yeah, some
yeah,
smaller
thank you.
companies do accept Mass Health, but they're few and far between.
yeah.
Okay. Well, thank you, Destiny. Okay, so I would like to go to the commission members and see if they have any questions.
So Lynn's hand is raised and Henry's hand is raised.
Okay, Lynn, please go ahead.
Oh, Destiny, thank you so much for all of this. I can't, my 45 years with Jim, and it started out that we had the phone number directly there was someone named Sandro. We could call Sandro, my wheelchair, the wheel's flat. He would be at our house that day. They kept all the parts. And it just became more and more expensive. So as years went on, weeks, months to get anything done, we would have to kind of do little things to the wheelchair to make it work. The backrest was back too far back. We'd put pillows. There were so many issues. I can't even, I would, whatever you need help doing this, I would love it. After my husband passed, I got a call about 9 to 10 months later that his wheelchair part was in. I went, well, that's great, but my husband passed away. And oh, it was all, I felt bad for the poor woman on the phone. But this was months. They would have us take, they'd say, oh, where's the wheelchair broken? I'd be down with the phone trying to take pictures to send to them. And we'd go to the, NSM. We'd actually go to where we could get it. Oh, now you can't do that anymore. And it was a nightmare, an absolute nightmare. And weeks and months for the hand control for his wheelchair. So I am happy to, if you want me to come to a meeting or reach out to any of the state reps or Senate, I'm happy to do it because that was one of the hardest parts. Because
Your story
my
and
legs, it goes through
perspective.
my legs. The wheelchair's my legs. It's how I get around.
Your
But thank
story and
you.
your perspective, I wish I could say was unique, but it is strong. I would have to say it would be really beneficial to have your story put forward at least through the Move H1278 perspective as well. The amount of people that I've heard from that have been wheelchair users for decades, are stating it's just gone downhill. And those are some of the most powerful perspectives to have in front of the current legislation because they're actively looking at, well, what was so different in, 1980, 1990 versus where we are right now. So I would love to connect with you afterwards. I'll put my information in the chat and that would be great.
Yeah, that I would love to, because I have many more stories, and skilled technicians is another problem. A technician will be there a year, they leave, so you have someone that doesn't. They come to us, and you're thinking, he has no idea what he's doing. Like Jim could say, well, no, that's not this is the problem. So having skilled people and it's really difficult. But yeah, definitely, I'll definitely reach out to you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Lynn. And Henry, you had your hand raised?
I did. Destiny, I really applaud what you did. Yeah, I've never used a wheelchair, but my mother did. She had a stroke, she was paralyzed. And when her wheelchair had issues, we were able to get it replaced because it was under warranty. But it took 8 days. And that was 8 days where my mom couldn't leave the bed. Yeah, I just hear what you're saying. I empathize with you more than it made me very sad. And I think what you're doing is just so important. It's embarrassing that it takes so long to repair people's lives, but that's what the wheelchairs are. The mobility is your life. And again, thank you for what you're doing.
Thank you, Henry. Yeah, really trying to emphasize to legislation right now, just like imagine if you were the one sitting in the chair. Our goal this session is to show the humanizing impact of like the people actually sitting in the chair and what happens when this bill just continues to sit.
Hmm.
Thank you.
And actually, I'm happy to write a letter of support, but I wonder, Jim, would it be possible for the commission to send a letter as well, or would it have any value?
I think it would absolutely have value.
I
I
think we
think
should
that
do it.
I think we should take a vote. We'll take a vote on that after these questions, but I think it's important that we support this in any way that we can. I think it's, I don't obviously use a wheelchair, but uh, waiting that long to get back to your life is very sad. I mean, it's ridiculous. So anything that we can do to help, absolutely. But before we go there, I'd like to see if anybody else has any questions.
I raised my hand, Jim.
Oh, okay, Sarah, go ahead.
Um, so I was shared with the commission privately, typically off after we were officially meeting. Um, in 2019, I got hit by a car in Brookline while I was in my wheelchair because I've had a disability since my birth. Um, I was hit by a car. I it tilted the whole chair to the left, but I it didn't actually. I was the wheelchair saved my life, but it broke the axle of the chair. And it took 2 weeks to get somebody to come out to look at the chair. And I was told by the technician that they could not fix it because I had been hit by a car. So I had to sue the man who,
Hmm.
um, who ran into me, and they weren't legally allowed to help me. Um, and they also said that if we take your chair apart and the axle is broken, we can't put it back together and we don't have a backup chair to give you. So I'm not touching this chair. And I then sat in that chair for 13 months waiting for a
Oh
new
my
chair.
God.
Well, I think I've let you guys know this. This is the worst experience I've had, but I'm actually currently, because chairs break all the time, I'm currently sitting in a partially broken wheelchair and it works. I can move around. I can get in my car now. I can do things, but uh, it's not great. My batteries are draining unbelievably fast, and the my backrest is sometimes deciding it doesn't want to go forward again. And so I can get stuck in a position where I can't sit up. And it does affect my work life. I have missed multiple days of work this year because of wheelchair issues. And like I missed 3 days because when I did give them my chair for repair, they did not have a chair to give me. So they gave me one of those hospital chairs, and I had to sit in a hospital chair, and my body can't sit up on its own. That's why I'm in a power chair. And I was in unbelievable pain. I had bruises all over my body because it wasn't holding my trunk up. So I've shared this with all of you privately. I mean, I'm doing it now publicly. It's not something I like doing. And I have given testimony to DPC in the past about this issue, but I've not spoken to the legislature. There are lots of reasons I don't want to do that. I don't want to be the center of attention, but I do monitor the progress of this bill pretty regularly, and I'm really hoping to see some movement. And because both sides of the legislature need to vote in favor of something in order for it to become law. And so I'm appealing to the commission, but I'm also appealing to the select board. Like I'm if you want people with disabilities to work in town, if you want them to work at all, we need to have some power that to say like I have a right to a working chair in a reasonable amount of time. And
Absolutely.
I've just been told over and over again, it's not an emergency. Well, it is an emergency if you can't
Yeah.
move your body.
Yeah.
So thank you for listening.
Okay.
Sorry.
Thank you for sharing the story. Okay. So if there's no other
Lynn
questions,
and John both have their hands up. I'm sorry.
okay, so then I will start with Lynn and then we'll go to John.
Oh, so this is real quick, Sarah. I have two wheelchairs in my basement that were Jim's. One's a brand new Permobil that he passed away before he only used it for 5 weeks. If you want to come over and see if it will work for you, I have a Roho cushion with it. It has a Roho cushion back. it's a permabile. I can't remember what it's called. I have to go down. If you want to come to my house and you,
And I appreciate that a lot, but Jim was much, much taller than I am.
I know
Like
you're 6 feet, but
probably over a
I think
foot taller than I am.
the footrest
But
would
I
be
appreciate the
adjustable.
offer. I really do. And I also, if you do ever want to donate them, I can connect you with multiple options.
No, I
So
tried to do it through reuse. They didn't want the wheelchair because
I have other ones. We can talk next week. I
Yeah.
also will make sure that
but
you
you're
get
welcome
this
to
in
come
good
over.
hands.
The footrest can be adjusted. So it might,
Yeah, I understand that. And if I mean I'm happy to come take a look, but he was so much taller than I am. And I don't know if
Oh,
it's a possibility. I really appreciate the offer though.
oh, if you want, you're
Thank
welcome.
you.
Okay.
Thank you. Okay. So I want to go to John, please.
Yeah, thanks very much. Just a couple of questions. Has the Massachusetts Office of Disability entered into this discussion? Has the Commission on Disability entered in?
They've come in on letters of support, so they've backed us up, like we have them listed as our, supporters of the legislation, but not beyond that.
Because this sounds almost like something in between a consumer protection issue and a disability rights issue. And I'm just wondering if there's anyone suggesting that there ought to be an extension of consumer protection laws if they don't already exist to cover failure to promptly repair wheelchair situations.
That's where we were looking at the warranty bill, where we've got that new arbitration process and where we have a little bit more. Our bill would give more rights to the Attorney General to actually be able to take action against and enforce the issues, because right now there is no enforcement behind it, and that's why it was referred out of the original committee to consumer protection, and that's where it's currently sitting. Um, and that's, yeah. Does that answer your? Does that
Yeah,
answer?
no, it does, and I really hope that you achieve success with the legislative push. It frightens me to think that, people who need um, this problem to be addressed promptly are dependent on the legislative process to get agreement on a bill. That can take 10 years. In the experience I've had with other issues.
We did
Yeah.
have Assistant Attorney General and Lynch actually come in and testify in person on behalf of both of the bills in support, as it was a big win this session.
Yeah.
Let's just say that. So we're hoping that that will hold some weight.
It almost feels like a denial of care to me, but that's just my immediate reaction to this. Thank you.
Thank you, John.
Thank you, John. Okay, so with that, I'd like to ask the commission for permission for me to write a letter, and I'll do what I always do whenever I write one of these letters. I will send it out to a couple of people who are intimately involved with the situation and get their approval on the letter that everything I say is accurate. And I'd like to submit it to the legislation from the commission supporting H 1278.
I second that motion.
Just the House, or would you do the Senate too?
No, I'd like to do both.
Okay.
I'd like to do both. I'd like to request permission from the commission to do both.
So who would they go to exactly?
Well,
The
I
chair of
think
the commissions? The
Destiny's
chair
going to
of-
give me, I'm hoping Destiny will give me that contact information.
Okay,
It's
okay.
in the document there too, exactly who to submit. You would submit it to written testimony to Senator Payano and Representative Taki Chan, and it would go there to both of them. But I'm also happy to coordinate afterwards once
Okay.
it's written on how to do that.
Okay, terrific. So I'd like to make that motion.
I
I
second it.
Okay, so Sarah Lynn has seconded it, and Joan Mahone,
Yeah, aye.
Lynn Meachek,
Aye.
Elaine Ober,
Aye.
Henry Winkleman,
Aye.
John Van Soyek,
All right.
and Is that everybody, Sarah?
Uh,
Liz is here
Elizabeth
now.
is
I
here
was gonna
now.
say, I think Liz said that she was gonna be here, so I'd like to ask Liz to vote as well.
Aye.
Thank you, Liz. Thank you. Okay, and with that, Destiny, thank you so much for coming in and thank you for all this information. I'll be reaching out through Sarah to you for additional information and how we can get these written comments into the record to support these bills.
Thank you so much, and thank you everyone for having me here today, and thanks for your support. I'm always open. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Thank you. Okay. Um, Sarah Kaplan, what do we have next?
So next on the agenda is Brookline Day.
Oh, Brookline Day. I think we, I'm sorry, we have to vote on purchasing the bottle openers
So the
to
question
pass
is
out.
whether I have two questions. Does the
Okay,
commission want to actively participate in Brookline Day either by getting their own table or by being part of my office's table? And then would they like to purchase the jar openers? And I don't have information about how much is in your HP Find Fund account because uh, we are currently switching from one fiscal year to the other to the next. So I would
okay,
ask the commission for permission to spend a amount of money that they choose through checking with you once I get because we our next meeting would be after it would be like our next meeting is until September and Brookline Day is September 14th. So I'd want to make this purchase in that kind of
yeah,
time
yeah.
between.
No, got it, got it. So the our next meeting is September 10th, right?
Yes, but
Okay.
it would be too fat. Like if you don't
And-
vote on it until September 10th, we
Oh,
don't
no,
have
no, I'm not,
time.
that's not what I'm saying. I'm just trying
Yeah.
to get the date straight. So, so the two
And,
questions are, do we want to,
well, Brookline Day, first of all, is on September 14th. Is that Saturday or Sunday?
That is a Sunday, I believe, but I can
And
check
it's,
my calendar. Hold
can
on.
somebody check?
well, 13th, yeah, it would be it would be Sunday.
Okay, it's
If
between
Wednesday is the
11
10th.
and
Yeah,
3.
yeah.
It's between
So,
11 a.m. and 3 p.m.
okay. So, I got to tell you, I mean, personally, I would not want to set up our own table if Sarah's department already has one. I wouldn't mind sharing that table. Um,
I think that's a
eh,
good idea
I
because it
did
gives
too.
you a lot more traffic. You
yeah,
know, if you're by yourself, I think you're going to receive less traffic than if you're with the whole DEI table.
yeah. So yeah, why don't we say that we'll um, do what we can with Sarah's office, and we'll agree to that. And Sarah, how much money do we need to purchase
So
these
I
bottle?
looked around online
Yeah,
because WB Mason doesn't seem to make these. So I looked around at a couple different companies and um I have an estimate for you. It depends on A, how many of them you want to buy. So like I looked at this and a lot of companies start with a minimum of 300. So if you wanted to buy 300 of them, I found a quote as low as like 270 and as high as like 500. Um, so it would just depend on how many like what company you want to go with. I don't have a quote for you, and but I can give you an estimation of anywhere between 250 and
yeah.
$500.
Okay, but
Sarah, is that with anything printed on them?
Yeah, I mean, we what we would do is we would use the new Brookline logo, and then underneath write this Brookline Commission on Disability,
Okay.
and we can pick a color. Uh, I would suggest actually white or
color.
cream, and then the because the logo is mostly green,
Okay.
and it gets printed on the jar opener, and that's similar to what you did last time, except last time it was Brookline's seal, but Brookline is really moving toward using the logo rather than the seal. So, uh,
Okay, so hang on a second before we get into design. Um, so the commission has done this before,
yes,
and
but it was
and can
before
I
I,
assume that these openers were they're giveaways? Are they a hit? I mean, do people like them?
I mean,
Yeah,
we
they
don't have
would.
any left. And
Okay,
so
well,
I would
I guess,
assume that
I,
I
I
guess that's
used
the
they're,
answer.
to, I
and
used
I
to
can tell you,
attend.
I only have one in my house, but I use it almost every day.
Yeah,
Uh,
okay,
I
there are
used
no
to
more
attend. I'm
left.
sorry, I can't show since my video is not up, I can't put a hand up. But
okay,
that's why I'm interrupting. I'm sorry, but
that's
I
okay,
used to attend when it was at Lars Anderson Park, and they were popular,
Yeah.
yeah,
I will say.
okay. So why don't we agree that, why don't we do this here? We'll just say that we're definitely gonna participate, and Sarah, I'll reach out to you and discuss that. Um, on how we're gonna participate physically at the booth. And we'll go ahead and take the vote to spend up to, can we say, spend up to $550 on the bottle openers?
Yeah, that's great.
And if it's less than that, go ahead. If it's more than that, we'll have to have a special meeting, but I can't imagine that it's gonna be more than
I
that.
will make sure we meet the budget.
Okay, so I will make the motion to spend up to $550 on the bottle openers for Brookline Day on September 14th.
Okay.
I'll
You have
I
a
second.
second?
second the motion.
Henry
Joan.
seconds and Joan seconded, so I will say Sarah Lynn Allaire,
I,
and Joan already seconded, so Lynn Meachek.
Aye.
Elaine Ober,
I,
Liz Stryer,
I,
Henry Winkleman,
Aye.
and John Van Soyek.
Aye.
Okay, terrific, terrific.
I will follow up with you, Jim. The only other
Yep.
thing I wanted to ask was, do we want to update the BCOD brochures before Brookline Day?
I was
Yeah,
thinking about this and have another idea, and that we make 4 single-sided pages in different colors, offering some one would be basic information about the commission, one would be basic information about ADA coordinator services, one would offer basic information about the ramp loan program, and the other would offer basic information about the Smart 911 program. And then people could just pick those up, rather than giving them a whole brochure, which we will have to update, and we haven't done so, and so forth. The colors might be nice and attractive, and I'd be happy
what,
to write them.
whatever would be easier
I mean,
and, and,
that's
and,
up to
and
the
within
commission.
time. What's that?
That's really up to the commission. You just need to tell me what you prefer, and then I can start working on them with Sarah Lynn, or if you want
Okay.
to do the brochures, I just need to know what you prefer to do.
Well,
Well,
let,
you
let
were
me ask
supposed
this
to
here.
give us the brochure for today, and you didn't, so.
I mean, the
Let-
brochure's on the website. It's
Well,
there.
okay, before we get into that, let me ask this here. How many pages is the brochure?
It's a double-sided single trifold brochure.
So that's what, 3 or 4 pages?
I mean, it's literally one two-sided page that's folded into a like,
Okay.
yeah.
And so Sarah Lynn, you're saying let's use the same thing and
No,
just with new information?
skip the brochure for now anyways. Just have 4 separate pages of information on one side in large print. One would be basic information about the commission. One would be basic information about ADA coordinator. One would be basic information about the ramp loan program, and the other would be basic information about the Smart 911 program. And
So,
people could pick those up and take them as they wish.
okay, so you're suggesting 4 separate pages.
Yeah, yeah,
And so if somebody's interested in the ramp program, they grab that. Somebody's
yeah,
interested in,
yeah.
okay. What does everybody think about that? I personally don't have a preference because I never saw the brochure to begin with, so. But what are other people thinking?
I wonder,
Sounds like a good idea.
yeah, I think it
Um,
sounds like a good idea too. And my thought was that the brochure on the BCOD could help us possibly get more commissioners.
Okay,
Well,
but which is
but
it?
hang on, Henry. Okay, the question is, do we want to go with the brochure? Or
Yes.
do we want to go with Sarah Lynn's idea, which is 4 separate pages of items involved the BCOD?
I think 4
That's the
separate
question.
pages.
I have a question. When you say pages, Sarah, Lynn, you mean a paper for each one of those topics, correct?
Yeah,
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. I think that's a good idea. Then people, it's not overwhelming with the information and they, oh, this is, let me look at this and highlight it. And maybe at the bottom of each page, they could have the link to the BCOD website. So
yeah,
then,
that would be part of the
yeah,
information.
yeah. Then they can research it further.
I'd be happy to help design it if we could do a
All
layout.
right, that'd be great. That'd be great, because I'm
Okay.
not good at designing.
So
There you go.
if one person works with me, we don't have to make a subcommittee. If
Yeah,
two
I know.
people work with me, we have to make a subcommittee.
I know.
Sarah,
Yeah,
if
we,
I worked with you and then we gave them to
Nope, that would
Henry
be
to
illegal, Sarah Lynn. It would be
okay,
a violation of open meeting law.
okay, hang on. All right,
Wait,
so-
but why would it be a